So how do you get attention to your CV and covering letter? Now there are two ways to do this. So your CV gets attention through your covering letter, right? You are writing an email to somebody and they open it and they find out that, okay, this is the person applying and this is what they've applied for. Now, a lot of people do not put the effort required to personalize this covering letter of theirs. The second set of people apply through placement committees. Now, placement committees are not there in every institution and they are not going to be there for a lifetime, and even if they are there in your college, they are not always doing the best job that is suited for your interest. So it might be that your placement committee is going to look out for corporate jobs or some litigation internships, but you might end up having an interest in a different area, or your career to you might look very different. Okay, and if that happens, then for you it is important to find out the kind of opportunities you want and not necessarily limit to the kind of opportunities that are made available to you from a placement committee in your college. Okay, so if that is the case, then you've got to look at what your covering letter is going to be about. Now, a lot of emails, the challenge is not to find email IDs anymore. At one point in time it was, but you have freely available email IDs of partners of many law firms, of many general counsels of many companies. You can find them off online, and you can get, for example, a list of 50 or 100 email IDs. And we've seen emails that people write copying everybody or BCCing everyone, and they send one email to that they send one email copying everybody and attach one CV with one covering letter. Okay, now that has a huge disadvantage. It doesn't let you customize based on the needs of each recipient. So the first and most important thing is that you will need to customize your covering letter to the needs of a recipient. Your covering letter cannot be self-focused. A self-focused covering letter is one where you say that I am looking forward to learn and I want to gain the exposure provided by your organization. Now that is a self-focused covering letter. The other top mistake people make when they write their covering letter is that they flatter a lot. They say that I want to intern in your esteemed organization and I am hardworking and I want to contribute diligently. Now these kind of things are very generic and vague, and it actually is a turn off for somebody who's reading, because they know that you want an internship and therefore you are obviously saying nice things about the place you are writing to. Okay, they want you to cut that and get to the point. Now how can you exactly get to the point? Now let's look at the covering letter. So this covering letter therefore has to be very direct. So you can say, dear, your article, dear whatever the person's name is, I am doing this and I want to apply for an internship, or I want to explore if there are positions open in your organization for this role. I have A, B, C, D, E, F, G skills. Select 5 or 6 most relevant skills for them. Okay, and select what you have published online, offline, wherever. Give them a copy of it, attach it, and provide a hyperlink to it immediately over there in the covering letter. It can also be there in your CV. That's not a problem. Your CV should be 2 pages, which we discussed in last session, that just keep it to 2 pages as far as possible. If you have got too many publications and so many will be relevant to them, then ideally send an annex of relevant publications. Keep it a separate document. Okay, so this is one way to get attention on your covering letter. This is step 1. This is short-term way. Okay, this is the short-term way, because you will have to, and you have to write how you can contribute. Do not make it self-focused. Don't say I want an opportunity to prove myself and all of that. No, you can identify where and how you can contribute. How do you do that? If you are applying to 10 corporate law firms, you can read about 3 or 4 kinds of transactions that they've done, where they have been covered in the media. There are enough legal news sites, Legal India, Bar and Bench, etc. out there, which will tell you the kind of work they've done. Now don't just shoot in the air. You read that kind of work, read 2-3 things. Like if a firm is doing M&A transactions, then you think about what could be relevant to M&A work. if you don't know, it might be possible, okay, that you read an article and you don't know that, okay, they've done this transaction, but I really don't know what's relevant to M&A. That can happen. In that case, you should talk to somebody and identify, okay, what is going to be relevant. Now, for example, I'll say you've done something on slump sales, you've done something on asset purchase agreements, you've done something on stamp duty on these transactions, and you've written something on the takeover code. Now, these 4 are excellent examples of articles to link. Okay, you can link to this and shoot off to the firm. There might be another firm which may have done work on investment related disputes, or it may have done work on some capital markets transactions. And it might so happen that you have written on those capital markets transactions. Now, this should over time not be restricted to chance. So how do you make it not arise from chance? You need to know beforehand what kind of firms you want to ideally get opportunities from, at least the area. So is it going to be corporate law firms? Is it going to be IP law firms? Is it going to be media and entertainment law firms? Is it going to be companies? What kind of work do those companies do where you want to work as an in-house counsel? If it's going to be litigators, then even more specific. Every litigator has a very special kind of work that they do. Like the mix of every litigator does 3, 4, 5 kinds of practice areas. Okay, so somebody may go to high court, do some trial work, do some tribunal work, and the tribunal maybe someone does NCLT, NCLAT, and high court work. Somebody else might do district court and high court and arbitration work. So you have to customize for each of these, and you have to find out what work they do. And some people think that, I'll just ask that person what he does. No, but when you want that internship or an opening with them, find out in some other way, because when you go to them, they need to know that you've done your homework and you're interested in them. I heard of somebody who went to a company for an interview, and then she did not know that she was interviewing for an NBFC, and she did not know how NBFCs are governed. Okay, and she wanted to interview for a job. Now, this is called a self-focused approach, where you're just looking at how you can benefit and you're asking somebody else for a favor. You want to ideally be in a position where you are looking as adding value. You are appearing to another person as you are adding value, and you can add value as an intern, as an associate. Can you give me some example of how you can add value as an associate or an intern? In the most junior positions, you can add value, and you can add even like so much value that people would be finding it difficult to let you go. In the law firms, the support staff is so important. Every lawyer is asked to treat them really well, because they are the longest staying, the most loyal, and the most steady people. Many of them earn more than associates also. So what is important is that, so as an intern, for example, if you're doing work which is of the level of an associate with 7-8 months of experience, wow man, they will love to have you there.